Welcome to once again accountancy class, grade 12. So last 2 or 3 sessions we discussed about under subscription and over subscription of shares, especially pro rata basis. In the meantime, this session going to discuss calls in arrears and calls in advance. So what is the meaning of calls in arrears? The name itself, it is said that it's arrears of the call. So after the allotment. So here any structure of the shares, for example, unit value 10 rupees, you can say application 2 rupees, share allotment 3 rupees, then share first call and share second call. So likewise, the structure of this unit, so sometime what will happen, at the time of company calls any first call, second call, the particular shareholder or number of shareholders, they are not even paid. So whenever the company calls, okay, so that is called calls in arrears. Or sometime what will happen, shareholders paid in advance, even though the company not yet called for first or second call, some shareholders they are paying the money in advance. That is called calls in advance. So now first we are going to see what is the meaning of calls in arrears. Thereafter, what are the accounting treatment we are going to do for the preparation of the journal entries. Correct. So here, calls in arrears. If a shareholder does not pay the call amount due on allotment, maybe on due on allotment or any calls according to the terms. Here what is the terms means? See, every time what happen, first they will give the issue of shares, the people are applied, so application money. Then they give the some gap during the number of months or number of days, some 2 months or even 45 days like that. So that's why it here is coming in there according to the terms. So thereafter, once the share applied, thereafter share allotted, after some point of date, due date, the company will call for the first call. On that time, the amount not so received is called calls in arrears. So when you will say calls in arrears, if a shareholder does not pay the call amount due on allotment, even allotment itself, or any calls according to the terms, the amount not so received is called calls in arrears. Okay. So the unpaid portion or the arrears amount on account of allotment or calls may or may not be transferred to, we will say, calls in arrears account. It may or may not be transferred. So first of all, we want to know how much in our calls in arrears. How many shareholders not yet paid or whenever called by the company. That is one point. So whatever uncalled money or uncalled money or unpaid money or any arrears, whether it can be transferred or may not be transferred to which account? Calls in arrears account. That is one important point here. Even you can open calls in arrears account also. Okay. Then, interest on calls in arrears. What is that? So, for example, the calls you made for 1st May 2020. Okay, this is the first call made. Okay. But what happened? You not get paid. So we paid actually maybe 1st August 2020. So what is the duration? Maybe, so April, May, June, July. So the 3 months, the period of the 3 months, the company will charge. That is called interest on calls in arrears. The payment date is what? 1st May 2020. But they paid later on the particular calls over default shareholder. They actually paid when? 1st August 2020. That duration of the period, definitely company will charge interest on calls in arrears. See, the company, if authorized by its articles of association, may charge interest at the specified rate. What is the rate on the charge? What is the rate? At the specified rate on calls in arrears from the due date. That's what I said now. This is the due date actually. From the due date to the date of payment. This is the payment date. This is the call made. This is the payment date. Okay, payment date. So almost 2 months or 60 days. The entire May, June, July. So 3 months. So 90 days, approximately 90 days. Okay. So for that, in between the payment date and due date, the company going to charge interest on calls and arrears. Okay. So how they will call? What is the rate of the interest? The rate of the interest, see, in case the articles of association, that's what you mentioned here, na? The company is authorized by its articles of association. In case the articles of association of the company is silent. Suppose in the articles of association they not mention anything about the rate, about interest on calls and arrears. So what they will do, they will follow the table F of the Companies Act 2013 shall apply. So which provides for interest on calls. Interest on calls, how much? 10% per annum. So the table F, they will mention that 10% per annum whenever articles of association is silent. You will consider for table F. Okay. So suppose, however, the directors have the right to waive the interest on calls and arrears. So finally what will happen? Even though articles of association mentioned or sometimes articles of association is silent, the table F, they will mention that 10% interest you have to charge, whatever about interest on calls and arrears. But sometimes what will happen? The director will decide, okay, they have a right to waive the interest on calls. What is the meaning of waive here? They can cancel. Okay, no need to pay interest on calls and arrears. Okay, but here, as per our discussion, interest on calls and arrears not in the syllabus. So only for information purpose we discussed here. The main one as a calls and arrears. What is the meaning of calls and arrears? Why it was occurred? Then sometime even suppose our higher classes you want to know, even interest on calls and arrears also there. Suppose the articles of association is silent, table F mentioned that clearly that the company will charge 10% per annum whoever default of the shareholder for interest on calls and arrears. Okay, that's all the discussion here. Okay. So now we will go for the how the accounting entries in calls and arrears. Okay, that's what we are going to see now. Okay. So now you will see the calls and arrears accounting treatment. How we are going to treat according to the two ways. So first one is, suppose without opening calls and arrears account, so how to do the treatment in issue of share capital. Okay, first list. Let us see that one. See here, the without opening calls and arrears account means what? Need not open calls and arrears account. In the meantime, what we are going to do? See, under this method, amount received from the shareholders is credited to the relevant call account. So whether it's a first call or second call, and various call accounts will show debit balance equal to the total unpaid amounts of cash. So here, whatever the calls and arrears, whether it's a first call or second call, you want to show any debit balance. Thereafter, you want to show any whatever the share first call credited to share capital account. Correct? That's what they clearly mentioned here. On subsequent date, suppose after period of time, when the amount of calls and arrears is received, so you want to do what? Bank account is debited and the relevant call amount is credited. Simple. Whether it's a first call or second call. So here that's why I repeat once again. Under this method, amount received from the shareholders is credited to the relevant call account. Whether even share allotment or share first call, share second call. And various call accounts will show debit balance equal to the unpaid amount of calls. I will see with illustration understood this sentence. So on subsequent date, whenever the amount of calls and arrears is received, simply when you got money, you have to debit the bank account. Okay, bank account is debited and relevant call amount is credited. Now let's see one example here. First call money at the rate of 2 per share on 10,000 shares. How many shares? 10,000 shares is called, but out of this first call money on only 9,500 shares is received. So default how many shares? 500 shares the particular shareholder not paid on first call. So how to do the journal entry here? See here. So what is the entry? Share first call. Okay. Share first call account. How much? Suppose it is how much? 10,000 into 2, 20,000. Okay. 2 share capital account. 2 share capital account. So 20,000. You are supposed to get how much? 20,000. So what is the narration being? Share first call money due. Okay. For how many shares? 10,000 shares. But actually how much received? That's what here you need not show the cautionary account. So just how much received? Bank account data. So bank account data. How much? Only 9,500. Okay. So 9,500 into 2. How much? Received 19,000 only. Okay. So that's what. You received how much? Only 19,000. You need not show calls in arrears account. Directly to this one. Share first call. To share first call account. 19,000. Okay. So that is the journal entry. So being, what is journal entry here? What is narration going to write? Being 9,500 shares at the rate of 2 rupees per share received. So the shortfall is how much? 500 shares is calls in arrears. Here we want to need not open calls in arrears account. That's what. Without opening calls in arrears account. Now we are going to do what? Which account? Share first call account. Suppose you want to open share first call account. Okay. So how to open share first call account? Share ledger. Okay. So I will open it here. Share first call account. This is the ledger going to open. So what is the entry? Share first call account. So 2 share capital how much? 2 share capital. 2 share capital account. So this is a debit part 20,000. Okay. Here 20,000 open. So next one, buy new share first call. So buy bank account. Right. So buy bank account. How much? 19,000. Okay. So when we close the account, 20,000 here. Okay. So here okay. So we are closed. So what is the difference? 1,000 is difference, right? So 1,000 rupees is difference. That we call it what? Maybe it is called buy balance carried on. Buy balance carried on. Or calls in arrears. That's what when you open the ledger, share first call account, 2 share capital, 2 share capital 20,000, share first call ledger. So buy bank 19,000. So natural difference you can say maybe balance carried on. 1,000 rupees is pending, so due. That's what is the 1,000? Nothing but calls in arrears account. So we want to show like this. So here you need not open calls in arrears account. That's what they mentioned here. Without opening calls in arrears account, how the entry will be. Okay, that's what the discussion for calls in arrears account. Now we are going to see now suppose opening calls in arrears account. So how the accounting treatment. Now let's see how it will be going on. Just to see now how the without opening calls in arrears account. Okay, so now move for the with opening calls in arrears account. Now let's see by opening calls in arrears account. Previous one we discussed without opening calls and arrears account. Now suppose we want to open calls and arrears account, how the accounting treatment will be. So under this method, the unpaid amount is transferred to calls and arrears account. How? As a result, shares allotment account and shares calls accounts will not show any balance. So here, our first method, we are showing the balance here. Balance carried on, we are showing here. Nothing but calls and arrears account. Suppose you want to open calls and arrears account, what is the entry for this 1000 rupees? So as we pass the third entry, what is that? Calls in arrears account. That are how much? 1000 to share first call account. Share first call account. So 1000. So if we pass this entry, definitely calls and arrears account will show debit balance. So here we will cancel this, it won't come. So naturally the posting will be here by calls and arrears account 1000. You understand? When you open calls and arrears account, you have to mention to share first call. So when you received for share calls and arrears later on, bank account data to share relevant call, you can credit it. So whatever money received for debit, relevant calls are going to be credited. Understood? That's what this entry for opening calls and arrears account. So what is the next one? Suppose for in this situation, for opening calls and arrears account, your first and second entry, so no need of the third entry. So instead of that, directly you see the entry, the second entry will be here what? See, bank account data, bank account data, how much? So 9,502. So 19,000. Okay. Then calls in arrears account 1000 to share first call account. How much? 20,000. So combined entry. Correct. So combined entry. Okay. So instead of the first and second entry, directly posted the one entry. This is one entry enough for opening calls and arrears account. As a bank account data 19,000, same manner written here also. But your opening was debit balance, calls and arrears account you want to mention 1000 rupees. To share first call account 20,000. Entire money you want to show here 20,000. That's what you mentioned here, 20,000. Same example. Okay. So when you open the account, share first call account, to share capital account 20,000 as a due. So whenever money received by bank account 19,000, by calls and arrears account 1,000. So this by balance carried on won't come. When you open for calls and arrears account, right? So you will mention exactly by calls and arrears account 1,000. When you open calls and arrears account, it will show debit balance to share first call account. So later once you receive money from the calls and arrears, so bank account data to respective call and arrears, either first call or second call. You understood now? That's what two way of accounting treatment, especially under calls and arrears account. Whether it is by without opening calls and arrears account or by opening calls and arrears account. Okay, that's why the entry can be like this. So without opening, only this one entry and the second entry. Here we need not show anywhere calls and arrears. But when you opening the calls and arrears account, you want to mention calls and arrears. That's what this is the single entry. You have to mention calls and arrears account, 1,000 rupees. But here it need not show anywhere. Correct? No need for that. Whenever without opening calls and arrears account. But here once you open a calls and arrears account, you want to mention clearly debit balance. So always calls and arrears account, debit balance. So once I received particular calls, so bank account data to calls and arrears account, whatever call, first call or second call. You understood that accordingly calls and arrears account under the accounting treatment. That's what the journal entry is very, very important. Okay. So accounting entries for calls and arrears. So what is the first entry that? See, calls in arrears account, calls and arrears account to respective call, whether first call or second call. Thereafter, any money received, bank account debtor to respective first call and second call. That's what the entry for the calls in arrears account. Okay. Now we are going to move for the calls in advance. So how the accounting treatment for calls in advance account. Now let's see how it will be appearing here. Okay. So now let's see the calls in advance. So previous discussion for calls in arrears. Now the just opposite, calls in advance. So how the accounting treatment under calls in advance. Let's see. So what's the meaning of calls in advance? Simple. So if the company not yet called any money, but some shareholders they paid in advance. That is coming under calls in advance. See here, as a calls in advance as accounting treatment, the company may, if its articles of association allows, so they have to allow. What is the articles of association? We discussed about internal management of the company. Correct. So allows accept the amount against the call or calls, maybe first call or second call, number of calls not yet made. So this is very very important point. So even though not yet made, suppose some shareholders given money in advance, suppose mentioned in articles of association, if they allows, the company can accept well in advance. That is called, so the amount so received in advance is called calls in advance. You understood the meaning? Calls in advance. So mainly when this situation arises, simple one. So it happens when in the case of partial or pro rata allotment of shares. So when the company retain the excess amount of received an application money of shares beyond the allotment money. So especially in the case of excess application, what you will do under the pro rata basis, the excess application money are going to adjust maybe share allotment, share first call or second call. So they received in advance. In that situation, especially in pro rata basis only, this arises, calls in advance arises. Most of the situation, mainly for whenever for pro rata basis. Otherwise, there is no question of calls in advance. Only the calls in arrears and only arises. So mostly whenever the pro rata basis, any excess application money, suppose don't want to refund. So that time you want to retain that money for future calls. So can't retain. That's why you want to show in a calls in advance. Okay, that's what the meaning of here calls in advance account. So very very important one. Just opposite of calls in arrears. Now understood what's the meaning of calls in arrears. So here also interest on calls in advance is there. So how we discussed the earlier interest on calls in arrears, here also interest on calls in advance. See earlier one interest on calls in arrears, the shareholder has to pay default of payment. So whenever after the due date, so the date between due date and payment date, they have to pay interest. But opposite here, company will pay interest. Why? Because the interest on calls in advance is paid if the articles of association provides. Okay. So but suppose articles of association is silent, so provisions of table F, we discuss the same one. Interest on calls in arrears, same and arrears, interest on calls in advance. Table F provides, suppose articles of association is silent, so provision of table F of the Companies Act 2013, what this says, they can apply. The company is liable, here the company is liable to pay interest on calls in advance. How much? 12%. Earlier one, calls in arrears, the shareholder has to pay. But here, company has to pay because they retain money well in advance before the call made. That's what the point here, not yet made. In the meantime, even though we accept that the excess money, for that money, whenever due date, the call's due date will come, that time the company has to pay interest. Till how long they are keeping their money. For example, they received same 1st May 2020, well in advance. So what is the entry? Now I am passing the entry. So bank account data to calls in advance account. Okay, to calls in advance account. So then, suppose the due date will come. So due date may be 1st July 2020. So what is the entry? That time, whatever the calls in advance were transferred to which call, whether the first call or second call. Okay, that's what very, very important entry. To share respective calls. So what is the entry? See, calls in advance account. Calls in advance account to share, maybe share first call or share second call. Share to share second call according to the call. Okay. So here see our whatever our credit cancelled your debit. So till that between this duration, so at the time of due date, company has to pay interest 12%. Understood? That's what the due date. Here the due date. Here the collection date. When they received, actually they not yet called, but they received money. So bank account data to calls in advance account. At time of due date, you just transfer that particular advances adjusted for maybe start first call or start second call account. So in the duration of this 1st May, then 1st July, that what are the number of months? So May, June, 2 months. The 2 months, company has to pay, liable to pay interest on calls in advance. How much? Interest on calls in advance, 12% per annum. So calls in arrears, 10% per annum by the shareholder, your company. You understood now? The very two important entry, especially for calls in advance. First one, bank account data to calls in advance account. So whatever the any excess application money received, you have to show in a calls in advance account. Similarly, second entry, calls in advance account to share first call or even share second call, according to which call received in advance. Accordingly, you go into adjust. Okay, that's why the two entries you have to pass under calls in advance. Okay, in the accounting treatment. And finally, it's very, very important, I'm going to see how the calls in arrears and calls in advance disclosure in balance sheet. Okay, now let's see how the two calls in arrears and calls in advance to show in a balance sheet. Okay, now we're going to see that. Finally, you should know how the calls in arrears and calls in advance to disclosure in balance sheet. That is very important. How it will appear in the balance sheet. See, disclosure in the balance sheet. The first one, the calls in arrears, you have to mention not in the balance sheet. You have to mention to shown in the notes to accounts. Correct. In the notes to account, for example, 1, so naturally share capital coming under equity and liabilities. Correct. Under the share capital, first you want to write authorized share capital, then issued share capital. Thereafter, third one is what? Subscribed capital. Under that subscribed capital, there are two classifications. One is subscribed and fully paid up. Okay, fully paid up. Second one, subscribed but not fully paid up, because that's what we are going to show. What is that? Calls in arrears. So net amount we are going to show here. So whatever this amount only, it will appear on our main balance sheet in a share capital. You understood? That's what here. It's very, very important calls in arrears. You want to show deduction from subscribed but not fully paid up, subscribed capital. So you want to show here. So what is our subscribed but not fully paid up? Total here you want to mention. Then less exactly what is our calls in arrears. Okay, that's what. Should be very careful. Calls in arrears would show only notes to accounts, not in this balance sheet directly. But coming for the calls in advance, here you want to show directly in the balance sheet. You know what is the liability balance sheet according to Companies Act when we are discussing financial statement. What is that? Equity and liabilities, correct? So under that one by one discuss. So finally we will know current liabilities. Okay, that current liabilities is what? Maybe current liabilities is main head. Okay, you know what is that? Main head. So under the main head, what is the subhead is called? Other current liabilities. This is called subhead. Right. So always should be very careful in the preparation of our financial statement. So the other current liabilities coming under the head of current liabilities. Correct. So current liabilities is the main head. Under the subhead of other current liabilities, you want to show calls in advance. Correct? So because received in advance, you want to show as a liability. So under that, not current liabilities, you want to show under other current liabilities. That yet you want to show in calls in advance. Now understood the difference here? The difference directly calls in advance, you want to show in other current liabilities under the main head of current liabilities in a equitable liability side. Here as a calls in arrears, you have to show only in no stock accounts under the share capital, especially subscribed but not fully paid up. The main head of subscribed capital, second classification, subscribed but not fully paid up. Under that, you are going to deduct calls and arrears. Finally, you will get the amount, final amount. So whatever this final amount only, you are going to show in a main balance sheet. Same. Here equity share capital. You know what is the first state? Here the share capital will come. Okay, share capital. Under the main head, shareholders fund. Correct? Shareholders fund. So calls in advance directly you can show in a balance sheet, but here as a calls in arrears, you want to show only in those accounts, thereafter transferred to our main balance sheet according to Companies Act 2013. Okay, so now we understood the exact meaning of calls in arrears and calls in advance. How the accounting treatment will be accordingly with the example we discussed. I hope that you understood. This is very important one. So in the preparation of the main discussion, the comprehensive illustrations, the calls in arrears and calls in advance, one of the very important factors for preparation of the journal entries. Correct. So I hope that you understood for these two important main differences, calls in arrears and calls in advance, why it is called calls in arrears and calls in advance. Thereafter, the accounting treatment. Finally, how it will disclose in the balance sheet. Okay. Our next session, we are going to discuss with anyone some problem. Through that, you can discuss detailedly about calls and arrears and calls and advance. Okay. I hope that you understood this session. Okay. Thank you very much.